I found her curled up in the library nook, her hands trembling as she clutched the torn remnants of her science project. Shredded poster board and bits of dried flowers littered the floor like a storm had swept through. Her wheelchair, adorned with star-shaped stickers, sat tilted against a bookshelf, one wheel still spinning. My daughter, Lily, wasn't crying out loud. Her silence was worse, a quiet so heavy it choked the air. Her hazel eyes, usually bright with curiosity, were dull, staring at the wreckage of her dreams. Standing a few feet away was Diane, the HOA treasurer and self-appointed guardian of Willow Creek's standards. Her arms were crossed, her lips curled into a smug line. "She's not cut out for this class," Diane said, her voice sharp as a blade. "Kids like her need a separate space. She's holding everyone back." I froze, my heart pounding. Lily, my brilliant girl who'd spent weeks crafting a model garden to show how ecosystems thrive, was picking up the pieces of her pride while this woman loomed over her like a judge. That was the moment I knew this wasn't just about a project. This was cruelty cold, deliberate, and personal. And I wasn't going to let it slide. We'd moved to Willow Creek, a tidy suburb in Ohio, 2 years ago, chasing a fresh start after years of city noise and judgment. Our little ranch-style house, with its wraparound porch and view of the community park, felt like a miracle. Lily, born with a condition that affects her leg muscles, used a wheelchair to get around. She decorated it with glow-in-the-dark stars and a tiny plush owl that dangled from the handle. At 12, she was a force curious, stubborn, and fiercely independent. She dreamed of becoming a botanist, always sketching plants in her notebook or begging me to take her to the local nursery. Willow Creek seemed perfect at first. The sidewalks were wide, the neighbors waved, and the school, Maplewood Elementary, was a short walk away. Lily's teacher, Mrs. Carter, was a gem, encouraging her questions and praising her creativity. The crossing guard, Mr. Tom, learned her name in days and always had a corny joke ready. Our next-door neighbor, Mrs. Ellis, would slip Lily fresh daisies from her garden. For the first time, I felt like we belonged. Lily adored school, especially the quarterly science fair, where kids presented projects they'd poured their hearts into. Last spring, she built a model wind turbine from recycled soda cans that spun under a desk fan. This time, she wanted to create a 3D garden, complete with hand-painted flowers and a mini irrigation system made from straws. She worked for hours in our garage, gluing petals and testing water flow, her laughter filling the house. I'd sit with her, passing tape or holding a ruler, marveling at her determination. She chose a blue dress with white daisies for presentation day, saying it matched her garden's vibe. Diane, though, was a shadow from the start. She lived 4 houses down, her lawn manicured to perfection, her mailbox gleaming white. As HOA treasurer, she sent nitpicky emails about fence heights or unshoveled driveways. I didn't think much of her at first, just another busybody. But then I noticed her watching us. One morning, as I helped Lily out of the car at school, Diane stood by her sedan, staring through tinted sunglasses. No wave, no smile. A week later, she parked so close to the accessible ramp that I had to maneuver Lily's wheelchair around her bumper. When I politely asked her to leave more space, she ignored me and drove off. It escalated. One rainy day, as Lily struggled to wheel over a puddle near the school entrance, Diane stood under her umbrella, watching without offering help. Another time, I overheard her mutter, blocking the path again, as Lily navigated the hallway. At a PTA meeting, she suggested some students might do better in specialized programs to avoid disrupting the class. She didn't name Lily, but her meaning was clear. I sat there, fists clenched, too stunned to speak. No one challenged her. Then came the HOA notice, taped to our door. It cited safety concerns about mobility devices left in shared spaces. Lily was the only kid in Willow Creek with a wheelchair, and we always stored it inside. Diane's signature was at the bottom. The neighborhood's warmth faded after that. Smiles grew tight, conversations short. At school, Diane volunteered more, hovering during lunch or art class, her eyes always on Lily. When Lily made posters for the science fair, spending hours painting them with watercolor vines, they vanished from the hallways overnight. No evidence, but I knew who was responsible. Lily started to change. The girl who sang while sketching stopped humming. She hesitated to raise her hand in class. One night, she pushed her half-finished garden model away and whispered, "Maybe it's too hard." My heart shattered. I hugged her and said, "This is yours, Lily. Don't let anyone steal it." But her spark was dimming, and I blamed Diane. The science fair was supposed to be Lily's moment. She woke up beaming, her blue dress swaying as she wheeled to the car, clutching her garden model. "Wish me luck, Mom," she said. I kissed her forehead, believing she'd shine. But at 10:45 a.m., Mrs. Carter called. "There's been an incident. Lily's okay, but you should come." I raced to Maplewood, my stomach in knots. Mrs. Carter met me outside the classroom, her face pale. Lily had been presenting her garden, explaining how plants support ecosystems, when Diane, volunteering that day, interrupted. "Can we move on?" she'd said loudly. "This is taking too long." As Lily froze, Diane walked over, grabbed the model, and tore off a section of painted flowers, muttering, "This isn't a special ed show." Lily reached for it, lost her balance, and fell, scraping her knee. Mrs. Carter stopped Diane, but the damage was done. The class sat in stunned silence, some kids crying. I found Lily in the counselor's office, her dress wrinkled, her model in pieces. She didn't speak, just leaned into my arms. Diane was in the hall with the principal, unapologetic. "She doesn't fit in this class," she said. "I'm saying what others won't." I stared her down. "You humiliated my daughter. You don't get to decide who belongs." The principal silenced her, but I was already walking away, Lily's hand in mine. At home, Lily went quiet. She stopped eating her favorite mac and cheese, refused school, and one day, I found her cutting her model into scraps. "It's worthless now," she said. That night, I sat on the couch, holding a piece of her gardenia tiny paper lily she'd painted. Anger burned through me. Diane wasn't just cruel, she was trying to erase my daughter. I couldn't let that stand. I wrote emails to the principal, the HOA board, and even the local paper. I detailed Diane's actions, from the snide comments to the destroyed project. I attached photos of Lily's torn model and statements from parents who'd overheard Diane's remarks. I called other moms, asking if they'd seen anything. Some had, and one sent a video of Diane looming over Lily during her presentation. I wasn't alone anymore. A week later, at the HOA's monthly coffee social, I confronted Diane. She stood by the pastry table, laughing with board members. "Well, if it isn't the drama queen," she sneered. I held up my phone and played the video. Her voice echoed, "This isn't a special ed show." The room went quiet. "You tore my daughter's work," I said. "You shamed her in front of her peers." "I have proof." Diane stammered, but I turned to the board. "Do something or I will." Then I left. The response was swift. Parents emailed the school, demanding action. One dad wrote that his son was scared to present after seeing what happened to Lily. The school banned Diane from volunteering and stated inclusivity. The HOA removed her as treasurer, citing conduct violations. Diane's reputation crumbled. She stopped attending meetings, her perfect lawn untended, her influence gone. Lily's healing was slower. But one Sunday, I saw her in her room, gluing new paper flowers onto a fresh model. She handed me a paintbrush, and we worked together. Her new garden was bolder, with a solar-powered fountain and a final panella field of lilies with a sign reading, "All are welcome." Mrs. Carter arranged a small presentation in the library. Lily wheeled to the front, her voice steady. When she finished, her friends cheered, not out of pity, but pride. Lily was back stronger, fiercer. Diane's cruelty hadn't broken her, it had forged her. Watching her that day, I knew she'd be okay. The world isn't always kind, but kids like Lily don't need pity. They need space to grow, and people willing to fight for it. What do you think about this story? Have you ever faced or witnessed injustice like this? Share your thoughts in the comments. Should Diane have faced harsher consequences? How do we stop cruelty hiding behind community standards? Your voice matters, so let's hear it.